Good morning. We've got Fahri Azzad with us. He's a practicing lawyer. How are you doing, Fahri?
Thanks. Great.
Great.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, now I guess we could kick things off really by just kind of talking a little bit about, I don't know, your lawyer and you. I mean, yeah, what are the steps really? Let's say you are charged with some sort of a thing. At one point do you call your lawyer? Do you use your one phone call? Do we get one phone call in Malaysia?
Well, actually, the law's been amended recently since last year, and you actually get two phone calls.
Oh.
Yep. One is actually to your relatives,
Okay.
your family or your close friends who you want to tell. Yes, I've been arrested. I've made it.
Okay.
And then the second
dear.
is
The press. No.
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 Yeah. Well, these days you might want to do that, but second would be your lawyer.
Right.
Yeah. So you want to get your lawyer in at the earliest opportunity.
Okay, for the common Joe on the street who doesn't have like a lawyer,
Yeah.
how would you go about getting one?
Okay. Yeah. Well, as a lawyer, I'm not supposed to recommend anybody.
Oh, right.
Generally,
okay, right.
okay. Well, but you can speak to them off the side, and then they'll tell you in private. But generally, what we would do is refer you to the Bar Council, where there's a whole list of firms,
Okay.
and they'll give you a list, and you can pick. Take a pick from there.
Who gives you this list?
You can go to the Bar Council and get a directory of lawyers.
But if you're arrested,
Oh,
then
okay. If you're arrested,
Then use that call to call the Bar Council, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
well, you would usually tell your relatives to say, "Get me a lawyer
Ah,
quick."
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they would go about getting it.
Now, it's not like it is over, because obviously we all watch a lot of American television, right? And
Mhm,
they
yeah.
do the whole, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you, etc., etc., etc. If you don't, you can call your lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer, one will be found for you. Does that happen here in Malaysia as well?
Yeah. Theoretically, it's supposed we have something like the Miranda rights over here, which is what you just said.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, legally and generally, yes.
But in practice, sometimes.
But in practice, well, when you get drugs missing from court and stuff like that, well, that goes to tell you what
Right.
the level is.
Okay. So today, of course, we're talking a little bit about, what happens when you get arrested, what are your rights, and how to deal with things, and what to look for in a lawyer, I guess. So let's just go through it from, I guess, from the beginning, which is when you get arrested.
Yep.
What actually happens? What are your rights, and what's the sort of
Okay,
thing?
I mean, these days you want to be very clear about who is doing the arrest.
Okay.
So I think you are perfectly entitled to ask if a police comes up to you and says, we intend to arrest you. I think you're perfectly entitled to say, show me your authority card. I would like to
Okay.
take a look at it.
Mhm.
Okay, because there are three different cards that they have. There's the blue, which is for inspector and above. There's the yellow, which is below inspector, and there's a white, which is for reserve police.
Okay.
Okay, so
Now, all three of those can make arrests.
no.
Okay.
No.
All right.
It would usually be inspector and above.
Right. So only a yellow. No.
blue.
No, blue. Sorry.
Yeah, the blue. Yeah, the blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
take note.
Sorry. Too many colours. I'm getting confused. Okay. And so if somebody with let's say a card of a blue or white
Yeah.
colouring tries to arrest you, what can you do?
Well, basically, you don't resist arrest.
Okay. Ever. Right.
Yeah. Not to say you don't ever resist arrest. Of course, I mean, they could be bogus cops, so then you would have to resist.
Okay.
But usually, if their identification checks out, you can say, okay, what am I arrested for?
Okay.
Because the police are always under a duty to tell you what you're arrested for, and that is something you can ask. If they are saying something like, okay, there are two ways they could ask you to come to the station. One is as a suspect. That means you're somebody that actually could have committed the crime and they're investigating that. Or they could ask you to come as a witness. That means you just go down, you give your statement about whatever facts you know pertaining to the case.
Okay.
If you're going down as a witness, can they force you to come down as a witness, or is that at your own discretion?
Well, they have powers to compel you to come to the station, but I think generally you can work out with them when you want to come down to the station and whatnot.
Okay.
Well, if you're a VIP, of course, they usually go over to your house.
Right. Okay.
Or whatnot. But usually, yeah, it's done at the station for their convenience as well.
Okay, right. Okay, so let's say you are arrested. Do they have to read you your charges or rights or anything like that before they can actually sort of haul you off?
No, I mean, to make an arrest is very easy. I mean, in law, as long as, like, say, if I touch you and I say you're under arrest, that's it. They don't have to physically detain you.
Oh.
Yeah, as long as they touch you and say you're under arrest, you are technically under arrest.
Okay, so if they come into your house,
Can they come into your house?
can they come into your house?
to make this arrest?
Do they need a warrant or anything?
Yeah, usually to go into a place, into somebody's private property, you would usually have a warrant.
And they have to show this to you?
Yes, you are perfectly entitled to ask for it.
What does a warrant look like? I'm really curious.
Well, it's basically like a court order to say that, yeah, this empowers the police to search this premises.
And are you allowed to actually say, hang on a minute, let me read this, kind of get glasses out, go through it? Or are they just going to sort of grab you by the arm and sort of haul you out? I mean...
well, it really depends who you are. But usually they are pretty
calm about the whole thing.
And they're pretty, how should I say, orderly about it.
Okay. Now, let's say you're a blogger or something, right?
Yeah.
Are they allowed to sort of pop into your house and take things like, if I'm not wrong, I remember one story we heard where they took not only the hard drive, but also the mouse, keyboard, and monitor, which, of course, major tools of sedition. But are they? Do they need a warrant to actually detain property as well, or things like that? Confiscate stuff?
Okay. It depends on the nature of the offense. For some offences, they're what you call seizable offences. That means if they see it, then if the crime usually is greater enough, then it's what you call a seizable offence.
That's like drugs and stuff, right?
Yeah, they can just seize it. They don't need an order or whatnot.
Okay, right.
In the studio this morning is lawyer Fahri Azzad, and we were just speaking to Nigel.
That's right. Nigel had an interesting question. Nigel was saying that let's say the police do come in with a warrant or whatever it is to sort of look through your premises, if it's a suspected scene of a crime or if they think there's something wrong with it. Are you allowed, as the owner of that private property, to be there while they search it, or do you have to step out?
Yeah, I mean, you can be there. It's your house, and you can overlook what they are doing.
Right.
But it's a different thing if you're searching for one, and two, if it's a crime scene. If it's a crime scene, yes, he would have to say, get out of the premises for a while the police conduct their investigations, and because they need to maintain the crime scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be reasonable for him to leave for a while and take whatever personal possessions he has to facilitate that.
Another question coming in from PG. When can the police use handcuffs?
Okay, handcuffs. Generally, they're allowed to use handcuffs because, well, to prevent escape. I would say that usually you should look at the accused. I mean, if it's just a thin, frail 15-year-old boy or a lady, there's really no need for handcuffs.
Okay.
It's not compulsory, I think.
It's at policeman's discretion, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be, because you can hold them another way as well. You don't have to always handcuff them. Okay.
I've got another SMS coming in. I think it's building on Nigel's question, actually. When the police are searching through your property or through your belongings, is it especially handy to be there just in case things turn up that weren't there when you left your property?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, that's why it's encouraged that you stay in the scene when it's happening.
And what sort of recourse would you have if, let's say, stuff turns up that you personally know was not in your house or not on your property at the time when you left it?
Yep. Well, I mean, if they show it to you, the first thing you do at the earliest instance is to disclaim whatever it is that they show you, and to make this known right at the very start.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, now moving on, let's say we're arrested, or not us, hopefully, but someone is arrested, and they've been given their 2 phone calls, and they have to get in touch with a lawyer. Now, is it okay just for them to call their regular old lawyer, their family lawyer, whoever's been helping them with, like, conveyancing or stuff, or do you need specific lawyers for specific problems?
Well, generally, Criminal is not to say a completely specialized area, but there is some special knowledge you would need to know. So I think any lawyer worth his salt, if like say you ask somebody and it wasn't his area of practice, I think the natural course for them would be to refer you or to get a lawyer for you. So I think at the very least you can count on your lawyer to be able to do that for you.
So you can get your regular lawyer to find somebody to help you out with that situation.
Yep.
So when you are on the phone to your lawyer, do you need to know the charges that you've been given?
Yep, definitely, because like I said, when you're arrested, they have to tell you what you're being arrested for. So when you call your lawyer, you basically want to tell them when, where you are, and to what you've been charged with. And usually reasonable opportunity is given to your lawyer to be there before the questioning starts.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine. You're allowed to have a representative.
Yep.
Okay.
To advise you. But in certain circumstances, the police can deny you this right. Okay, but they have to issue a certificate. A certificate to say that they verily believe that if you manage to consult your lawyer, or if a lawyer were to come,
it would obstruct justice or something.
Yeah,
is
it would obstruct justice.
Okay.
Basically to that effect. Yeah.
Right. But you can you, if they don't give you that little form, not say anything until your lawyer arrives?
Yeah.
You can do that. That's your right.
Yeah. In fact, there's also the right not to self-incriminate yourself. So you can decline to make whatever statement and say, I'll make it in court.
Okay, great. All right, coming back, we'll be answering some more of your questions. Also, we will be going on a little bit more about your rights and the police. And, of course, things like your rights to post a bail and things like that, and how to actually go to trial if indeed it does. It's got all that and more. It's all coming up right here on Red FM.